Welcome to the deep dive. This is where we cut through the noise, sift through complex documents, research papers, you name it, to bring you the insights that really matter. And today we are plunging right into a really critical and frankly fast-moving area, artificial intelligence. Our guide for this journey, it's the AAISM official review manual, or at least key parts of it. So what's our mission today? Pretty straightforward, really. We want to be your guides, sort of help you navigate the fundamentals of AI governance and program management. We're going to unpack Chapter 1's overview and Part A specifically. Think of us as, instructors walking you through this. The aim is for you to get a solid handle on the core ideas, the main players, the rules taking shape around AI. So you can, feel confident talking about it, working with it, making the complex a bit clearer.
Exactly. And that's really what this AAISM material is all about. For anyone maybe not familiar, ISACA is a huge global player in, digital trust, cybersecurity, governance, and now really stepping up in AI. This manual we're looking at, it is a key resource for the AAISM exam, no doubt. But our focus today is broader. We're pulling out the practical, real-world knowledge it offers, stuff you can actually use, whether you're hands-on with AI, managing teams, or just trying to stay informed. And it's worth saying, this isn't just one person's opinion. This manual, it's built on the work of thousands of experts, volunteers from all over the world sharing their knowledge. It's quite something.
And that collective wisdom, that's exactly what we want to tap into for you. The goal is simple. Give you quick but thorough grasp of AI governance basics and the risks involved. This isn't just theory, right? It's essential knowledge for anyone operating in today's world where AI is popping up everywhere. It's about building that solid foundation. So let's get started. Let's build that foundation. Okay. Let's unpack this. We're starting our journey, as we said, with Chapter 1. This really sets the stage for everything else, AI governance and program management. Now, we're not doing exam prep today, but it's interesting. This domain usually makes up a big chunk of certifications, like around 31% according to the manual's outline. That just tells you how critical this whole area is considered. It's not like an optional add-on.
Absolutely. And when we say AI governance and program management, what are we really talking about? It's basically about building the framework, the scaffolding for all the AI stuff happening in an organization. It means putting the right structures in place, having clear policies, defining the processes, and why do all that? To make sure every AI project, every algorithm you deploy lines up with the company's goals, first off, but also that it's managed well throughout its entire life. And crucially, that these systems operate ethically, securely, and that you're managing risk proactively, not just, waiting for something to go wrong and then scrambling. It's like building a house, right? You wouldn't just start throwing up walls. You'd plan the foundation, think about the structure, safety features, all that from day one. That's AI governance. It's that foundational planning.
Makes sense. And the manual itself, it structures Chapter 1 pretty clearly. You've got an executive summary, then learning objectives, suggested resources, and then these self-assessment questions and an answer key. So it's not just dumping information on you. It's trying to help you actually absorb it, test yourself.
Right. And those self-assessment questions are a great example of the practical side. They're not just about remembering definitions. They make you apply the concepts. For instance, there's a question on page 17. It asks, what is an essential element of an artificial intelligence AI breach response policy?
Okay, and the answer?
The answer, over on page 18, highlights having a clear protocol for immediate reporting and response. Now, why is that the key part?
Well, I guess in a real breach situation, things could get chaotic fast.
Exactly. If an AI system messes up badly or gets hacked, panic can set in. Without a clear, agreed-upon plan for who reports what, to whom, and how quickly, you risk delays, maybe making the wrong calls, and the damage reputational, financial, legal could just spiral. So these questions, they force you to think through the what-ifs, the practical side of governance under pressure. It's not just knowing the rule, it's knowing how to use it when it counts.
Got it. So a good overview of Chapter 1's purpose. Let's dive into the first main section then, Part A. This gets into the environment around AI, right? The external and internal stuff. Yeah, this is where it starts getting really interesting, I think. Because AI isn't developed in isolation, is it? It affects all sorts of people and groups. So Part A is about figuring out, okay, who actually cares about this AI? What guiding principles or frameworks exist? And what specific rules are popping up around the globe? It's like mapping the whole ecosystem AI lives in.
Precisely. AI has this profound impact on so many different stakeholders, and each one comes to the table with different concerns, expectations, maybe even demands. Understanding these external forces isn't just like a nice to have. It's fundamental if you want to build or use AI responsibly. The manual breaks these stakeholders down really well, giving us a kind of roadmap. So first off, you've got your customers and end users, the people actually interacting with the AI.
Right, the ones using the app or getting the recommendation or whatever it is.
Exactly. And their concerns go way beyond just, is it easy to use? They expect the AI to actually meet their needs, hopefully without causing, unexpected problems. This immediately brings up things like data privacy. Huge deal. That's why regulations like GDPR are so significant. A breach of trust with customer data can be absolutely devastating. Users also increasingly want to understand how AI makes decisions, especially high-stakes ones. Like if an AI denies you a loan or suggests a medical pass, you want to know why, right? What's the impact?
Yeah, the black box problem.
And avoiding discrimination is massive. Is the AI fair? Does it treat everyone equitably, or does it have hidden biases against certain groups? That's a huge ethical and legal minefield. Ultimately, the AI needs to provide some clear benefit. It should make things better, not worse. All of this just highlights how crucial it is to design AI with the user and their rights front and center. User-centric design isn't optional here.
Makes total sense. If users don't trust it or feel it's unfair, the whole thing falls apart, no matter how clever the tech is.
Yeah.
Okay, so beyond the direct users, who else is in this external picture?
Well, next up are the third parties. This is a big category. Think partners, vendors, suppliers, subcontractors, anyone you work with who touches your AI ecosystem.
Ah, so it's not just about your AI, but also the systems it connects to.
Exactly. AI rarely lives on an island. It often needs to integrate with vendor systems. Maybe it uses external data feeds. Sometimes you might even use a third-party AI model within your own product. So this requires more than just technical compatibility. You need really open communication, a shared understanding of ethical AI principles across your supply chain. Are your vendors handling data responsibly? Is their AI biased? You need strong contracts, clear expectations. It really shines a light on AI supply chain risk. A problem with a vendor's AI could easily become your problem, your liability.
Wow, okay, that adds layers of complexity. And then there's the big one, regulators and policymakers, the rule setters.
Yep. Their job is basically to create the policies and legal frameworks. They're trying to encourage responsible innovation while also protecting society from potential harms. They also push organizations towards proactive reporting and good practices, sometimes through incentives, sometimes through rules with teeth. And a big goal for them is usually supporting AI adoption, but responsibly for the wider good. But this isn't a static picture, is it? The rules are constantly changing, evolving.
Seems like it. New laws popping up all the time.
Right. So organizations can't just react to current laws. They need to be looking ahead, maybe even participating in consultations, trying to anticipate where things are going. It's like trying to navigate a moving ship in foggy weather sometimes. You need good instruments and foresight.
Okay, regulators. Who else?
The final category broadens the view right out. Society and communities. This looks at AI's wider social responsibility, its overall impact. The goal here is maximizing the good AI can do for humanity and preventing harm on a societal scale, promoting positive impacts across different communities.
So this is beyond just individual users or specific regulations?
Yeah, it touches on big questions like what's the environmental cost? Training these huge AI models takes massive amounts of energy. That's a societal concern. Or how do we prevent AI misuse? Things like pervasive surveillance or deepfakes spreading misinformation. That affects everyone. And crucially, it's about public education and transparency, helping people understand what AI can and can't do, its limitations. It connects AI development directly to our shared values. Is this technology actually serving humanity? That's a fundamental question here.
That's a lot to consider. A huge web of external factors. So for an organization actually trying to do something with AI, build it or use it, how do they even start to structure all this? How do they get organized and make sure they're, thinking about all these things proactively?
That is the perfect segue to a really crucial document, the AI Charter. Think of the AI Charter as the constitution or the foundational blueprint for any significant AI initiative.
Okay, a constitution for the AI project. I like that.
Yeah, it's designed to establish really clear governance structures, define who's accountable for what, and ensure the whole thing aligns with the organization's bigger strategy and ethical principles right from the get-go. It stops AI projects from just becoming these isolated tech experiments, disconnected from the business reality or ethical considerations. Without a charter, things can easily drift, stakeholders get confused, and the risk of unintended bad outcomes goes way up.
Okay, so it's that vital starting point. The manual, in Figure 1.6, actually lists out the key components of an AI charter. Maybe we can walk through those. They seem like the practical building blocks. First up, project name and description. Seems obvious, but why is clarity here so important?
It sounds basic, but getting the name and especially the core purpose clearly defined up front prevents so much confusion later. If people aren't even sure what the project is, you're already in trouble. Sets the stage. Then, right after that, you need clear objectives and goals. And these shouldn't be fuzzy wishes like make things better, they need to be smart. Specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound.
Right. So not just improve efficiency, but
But something like use AI to automate invoice processing, aiming to improve efficiency by 20% within 6 months while reducing manual data entry errors by 15%. See, that's tangible. Everyone knows the target, and you can actually measure if you hit it.
okay, that makes sense. What's next? Scope.
Ah, scope. Crucial. This defines exactly what the AI project will cover, which processes, systems, data are included, and just as importantly, what is explicitly excluded.
To avoid the dreaded scope creep.
You got it. Scope creep can absolutely kill projects, especially complex AI ones. A clear scope definition in the charter is your best defense. It manages expectations, keeps the project focused, and controls resource allocation. Next, you absolutely have to identify your stakeholders. Who are all the people or groups with a vested interest? Internally, that's your executives, IT teams, maybe legal, the business units who will use the AI. And externally, it's the ones we just talked about. Customers, regulators, partners. Knowing who they are, what they care about, who needs to be consulted or just kept informed, that's essential for getting buy-in and navigating potential roadblocks.
And for actually managing the project effectively, you need a defined governance structure.
Yeah.
Right? Who's in charge?
Exactly. The charter needs to spell out the roles, who sits on the steering committee, who's the project sponsor with the budget, which working groups are responsible for specific tasks. It clarifies decision-making authority and accountability. Who owns the success and who owns the risks?
Makes sense. Then there's the practical stuff, timeline and milestones.
Yeah, a high-level roadmap, not necessarily rigid day-by-day deadlines because AI can be iterative, but key milestones, target dates. It helps track progress and keeps momentum. And tied closely to that is resources and budget. What do you actually need to make this happen? It's not just money. It's people the right skills. It's data, which can be expensive to get and prepare. It's the tech infrastructure. The charter needs to outline these requirements so they can be secured.
Okay, and something you mentioned earlier, a really big one, risk management. This has to be in the charter, right?
Absolutely non-negotiable. The charter should identify potential risks right from the start. What are the ethical concerns? What if the data quality is poor? What are the security vulnerabilities? Could there be negative societal impacts? And crucially, what are the planned mitigation strategies? This cannot be an afterthought.
And finally, how do you know if it all worked? Success metrics.
Right. How will success actually be measured? Is it purely financial ROI? Is it improved accuracy, better customer satisfaction scores, reduced risk, maybe increased trust? Defining these metrics up front makes the project accountable and helps demonstrate its value later on. And the capstone is approval and authorization. Formal sign-off from the key decision makers. This signals commitment, provides the necessary authority, shows executive backing. So you put all that together, and the AI Charter isn't just a document you create and forget, it's a living guide. It's the reference point throughout the AI's entire life, ensuring it stays responsible, strategic, and effective.
That's a really clear picture of the charter's role. So you've got this blueprint, the charter. Now you need the people, the structure to actually oversee it and make it happen. That leads us, I think, to the AI steering committee. You just described them as orchestrators earlier. What's their main job?
Their main job is providing that high-level strategic oversight and guidance for all the AI initiatives happening across the organization. They're the ones making sure that AI efforts aren't just technically sound, but that they genuinely align with the company's overall strategy, its values, its risk appetite. They also step in to resolve the really big issues. Things like major budget disputes, significant changes in scope, or tricky ethical or legal questions that bubble up. And a key strength is their composition. They are usually cross-functional, bringing together different perspectives, not just techies, not just business folks. You need that mix because AI cuts across so many areas.
Okay, so who typically makes up this committee to get that necessary mix of perspectives?
Yeah, the manual gives a good picture of a typical effective setup. You'll almost always have a top-level senior leader, could be a CIO, CDO, maybe even a CEO in smaller firms. They provide that executive sponsorship, the clout to remove major roadblocks. Then you have project sponsors. These are often the business leaders or departments championing specific AI projects, maybe controlling the funding, advocating for its goals.
You need the people who actually understand the business context, right?
Absolutely. That's where domain experts come in. representatives from the key business units who deeply understand the operations, the market, the customer needs related to where the AI is being applied. If it's AI in HR, you need HR expertise on the committee. Then, of course, the technical experts. Your AML scientists, data engineers, security specialists, architects, the people who understand the tech's capabilities and limitations, the how, and critically, you need compliance, legal, and ethical advisors. These folks are essential for navigating the rules, regulations, internal policies, and ethical considerations. They protect the organization from potentially huge risks. Their input is needed early and often.
That really sounds like a comprehensive team. And given how fast AI moves, I imagine they need to meet pretty regularly.
Definitely. The manual suggests regular meetings, maybe monthly, maybe quarterly, depending on the pace of activity. The key is ongoing oversight. They need to stay engaged, track progress, address new challenges as they emerge, and ensure AI initiatives adapt to changes in tech, regulations, or business strategy. It's about active, agile governance.
Okay, that clarifies the who of governance. The charter sets the plan, the committee provides oversight. Now let's shift slightly to the what. What different roles can an organization actually play in the AI world? Are they building it, using it, or both? And why does that difference matter for governance?
That's a really important distinction because the role you play carries different responsibilities, different risks. The manual clearly defines two main roles. First, you can be an AI provider.
Okay, so someone making the AI.
Essentially, yes. An entity that develops or maybe sells AI solutions. Think big tech companies creating foundational models, or startups selling specialized AI software, or even an internal team building an AI tool for the rest of the company. Their responsibilities tend to focus on the AI system itself, its quality, its security, its inherent fairness or bias, its documentation. The second role is the AI deployer. This is any person or organization that uses an AI system, usually in a professional context.
So the bank using AI for fraud detection or the hospital using it for image analysis.
Exactly. Or the marketing team using an AI tool for customer segmentation. The deployer might buy an off-the-shelf AI system, or they might implement one developed internally or by a provider. But crucially, their responsibilities shift towards how the AI is used in a specific context, what data goes into it. Is there adequate human oversight? What's the impact on the end users or customers? Is it being used fairly and compliantly in that specific situation? For example, the provider might be responsible for minimizing bias in the model they sell, but the deployer is responsible for ensuring that using that model for, say, hiring decisions doesn't lead to discriminatory outcomes in their specific applicant pool.
Ah, I see. So the responsibility is shared, or at least different depending on your role.
Precisely. And an organization can absolutely be both a provider and a deployer. The manual mentions something called the AI shared responsibility model, which gets discussed later, apparently in Chapter 2. That model really digs into how accountability is split across the AI lifecycle depending on these roles. It's a key concept for understanding liability in this complex ecosystem.
Okay, that's a really useful distinction. Provider versus deployer. Sets the stage nicely. So we've got the players, their roles. Now let's talk about the scaffolding that holds it all together. The standards, frameworks, and regulations guiding AI. Feels like we're moving from the Wild West towards something a bit more structured.
Slowly but surely, yes. And the whole purpose of these standards and frameworks is crystal clear. They exist to help organizations put solid AI governance in place, stay compliant with the rules, and operate ethically. And it's not just one body making these up. They come from all over: academic groups, industry consortiums, government agencies, all trying to bring some order and build trust in AI.
It's a collective effort then, which makes sense for such a global technology. The manual points to several key examples in Figure 1.7. Let's maybe touch on a few of them. What's ISO AC 23894 about?
That one's quite foundational. It focuses on establishing common AI concepts and terminology, especially around machine learning. Sounds basic, but having a shared vocabulary is incredibly important.
Why? Just to avoid confusion.
Exactly. If your developers, lawyers, and business managers are all using terms like bias or explainability differently, you're heading for trouble. This standard helps get everyone on the same page, which smooths communication and reduces costly misunderstandings. Then you have ISO IES 42001. This is a big one. It's a standard for an AI management system. Think of it like ISO 27001 for information security, but specifically for AI. It provides a framework for embedding ethical AI practices, transparency, accountability, and continuous improvement right into your organization's management processes. It helps operationalize AI governance.
Okay, so a system for managing AI responsibly. What about IE 7000?
IEC 7000 focuses specifically on embedding ethical considerations throughout the entire AI lifecycle, from the initial idea through design, development, deployment, and even decommissioning. It's very focused on proactive ethical design, trying to prevent harm before it happens. And the OECD AI principles are also highly influential. They set out internationally agreed recommendations focused on human-centered values, fairness, transparency, accountability, security, privacy. They form a sort of ethical baseline that many national policies draw upon.
And from the U.S., there's the NIST AI Risk Management Framework, RMF.
Yes, NIST AI RMS is very practical. It provides a structured but flexible process for organizations to identify, assess, map, measure, and manage AI risks. It's designed to be adaptable to different contexts and aims to foster trustworthy and responsible AI development and use. Widely adopted in the US and influential globally. And just as another example, there's the AI governance framework from Singapore's PDPC. This highlights a regional focus, specifically looking at how to protect personal data when using AI systems, which is obviously a huge concern everywhere.
That gives a good flavor of the different standards out there. Now, the manual also highlights a specific practical framework as an example. The Cloud Security Alliance's 4 Pillars Framework, Figure 1.8. Can you break down those pillars? How do they help turn governance ideas into concrete actions?
Yeah, this is a great example of a framework providing tangible tools. The 4 pillars are designed to boost transparency and accountability in AI systems. The first pillar is data trusts, or sometimes called data sheets for data sets. This is all about detailed documentation for the data used to train your AI model.
What kind of details?
Things like where the data came from, its source, what it actually contains, its composition, any known biases or limitations within that data. Because, as we know, garbage in, garbage out is especially true for AI. Flawed training data leads to flawed AI. Data trusts aim for transparency about the raw materials. The second pillar is model cards. These are like spec sheets or nutritional labels, but for the AI model itself.
Okay, what goes on a model card?
It details things like the model's intended use and objectives, what specific data it was trained on, its performance metrics like accuracy, fairness scores, any known limitations or caveats like situations where it doesn't perform well, and maybe even its robustness against certain attacks. Model cards help everyone, developers, auditors, even users, sometimes understand what the model is, how it behaves, and where its boundaries are. It helps demystify the black box.
Right, making it more understandable. What are pillars 3 and 4?
Pillar 3 is risk cards. This is about systematically identifying, categorizing, and analyzing potential AI risks. These risks can pop up anywhere during data collection, model building, deployment, ongoing use. The risk card also includes the planned actions, the remediations for those identified risks. It's a proactive risk management tool, thinking ahead about what could go wrong and how you'd handle it. And the fourth pillar is scenario planning. This involves brainstorming hypothetical situations where the AI might be misused or might malfunction. What if the AI starts discriminating? What if someone tricks the model with bad data?
Like stress testing the system conceptually.
Exactly. By thinking through these adverse scenarios, organizations can develop better mitigation strategies and uncover weaknesses before they cause real harm. Sometimes this involves red teaming, actively trying to break the AI. And the real power here is how these pillars connect. The info from data trusts and model cards feeds directly into identifying risks for the risk cards. Insights from scenario planning might lead you to update your model card or gather different data. It creates this continuous feedback loop, making the whole governance process more robust and integrated.
That really shows how these frameworks translate principles into practice. Very useful. Okay, let's switch gears again to the legal side. Laws and regulations. You mentioned this is complex and evolving fast. A global patchwork, constantly shifting. Must be tough for businesses to keep up.
It really is a major challenge. How do you comply when the rules are different in different places and might change next year? Figure 1.9 in the manual does a good job comparing some of the big ones, showing both differences and common themes. Let's start with the EU AI Act. It's probably the most talked about, most comprehensive piece of AI legislation right now. It takes a risk-based approach.
Risk-based, how so?
It classifies AI systems into risk categories. Unacceptable risk systems like government social scoring are basically banned. High-risk systems, think AI in critical infrastructure, medical devices, hiring, law enforcement, face very strict requirements before they can be put on the market or used. Then there's limited risk AI, like chatbots or deepfakes, which mainly require transparency, letting people know they're interacting with AI. And finally, Minimal risk AI, like spam filters or video games, have very few
And
obligations.
who does it apply to?
Pretty much everyone involved, both the AI providers developing the systems and the AI deployers using them within the EU market. And the penalties are hefty, up to 35 million euros or 7% of global annual turnover for the worst violations. It demands strong transparency, human oversight, quality management systems, risk assessments. It's very thorough.
Right.
And it's being rolled out in stages over the next couple of years.
Wow, okay. That definitely sets a high standard. What about the U.S.? You mentioned it's more fragmented.
Yeah, the U.S. approach is different. You see
Right.
action at both the state and federal levels. Take the California AI law, CA AB 331. Its focus seems more on AI developers and requiring public input, like hearings, especially when government agencies use automated decision systems. Interestingly, the manual notes it doesn't specify its own penalties, though other California laws might apply. It also includes a right for individuals to object to significant automated decisions, pushing for human review. That's due to take effect in 2026. Then you've got the Texas AI law, HB 2012. This one's aimed more at state agency use of high-risk AI. A key feature is transparency, requiring AI labels so people know when they're dealing with AI on, say, a state website.
Yeah.
That one's already in effect and established a Texas AI Advisory Council.
Federally, there's an executive order, right?
Right. Yes. U.S. Executive Order 14110. Signed in late 2023, it's quite broad, directing various federal agencies on AI safety, security, and rights. It puts a strong focus on high-impact AI used by the federal government itself. Enforcement and penalties are largely left to individual agencies to figure out for their specific contexts. It mandates things like transparency reports for federal AI use, aiming for public accountability. Many parts of it kicked in around August 2024. It signals a strong federal direction, even if it's not a single law like the EU AI Act.
So different approaches, EU-wide risk categories, state-level focuses in the U.S., federal directives. But are there common threads emerging across these different regulations?
Absolutely, and this is maybe the key takeaway. Despite the differences in scope, enforcement, or specific rules, you see these core themes bubbling up everywhere. There's a clear emphasis on risk assessment, understanding, and managing potential harms. There's a demand for transparency, making AI systems less opaque, more understandable. And there's a push for accountability, knowing who is responsible when things go wrong. These seem to be becoming the global baseline principles for responsible AI.
That makes sense. And beyond these specific laws, what about the unique challenges of, say, large language models, LLMs, like the tech behind ChatGPT?
Ah, yes. LLMs present some distinct compliance headaches, especially around data confidentiality and privacy. These models are trained on absolutely massive data sets, often scraped from the internet. So questions immediately arise. Was there proper consent to use all that data? How do you ensure personal or sensitive information wasn't ingested during training? What happens if the LLM accidentally reveals confidential data it learned? Or what if users input sensitive company data into a public LLM? Organizations using or building LLMs need robust processes for data governance, securing consent, and conducting really thorough privacy impact assessments. It's a huge area of focus right now because the potential for privacy violations or data leakage is significant with these powerful models.
A really crucial point, especially with Gen AI tools becoming so common. Okay, so we've covered the governance landscape, stakeholders, frameworks, rules. Now let's shift to the fun part, AI use cases. We understand the rules of the road. Now let's look at what AI is actually doing.
Right. And generative AI, or Gen AI, is making waves across almost every business function, as Figure 1.10 in the material shows. It's really changing how work gets done. One obvious one is automatic content creation. Think marketing copies, social media updates, ad scripts, personalized emails. Gen AI can produce this stuff quickly and at scale.
And tailor it too, right?
Exactly. That's the power. It allows for hyper-personalization, crafting messages for individual customer segments or even individuals in a way that just wasn't feasible before. Marketers can test variations, optimize campaigns much faster. Another huge area is accelerated code writing. AI tools can help developers write code faster, find bugs, generate documentation, even do basic security checks.
This is to replace developers.
Not really. It's more like an assistant. It handles the repetitive stuff, freeing up human developers to focus on more complex design and problem solving. It boosts productivity, helps fill skills gaps. Then there's customer experience enhancement, using AI to analyze customer data to personalize their shopping journey, suggest relevant products, make online interactions feel smoother, more intuitive. Think Netflix recommendations or Amazon suggestions.
Making things feel more relevant to the individual.
And related, but slightly different, is enhancing data quality. This is fascinating. Gen AI can actually create new synthetic data that mimics the statistical properties of real data.
Why would you do that?
Well, maybe real-world data is hard to get or it's too sensitive, like patient health records. You can use synthetic data for training AI models without compromising privacy. Or you can use it to augment small data sets, making your AI training more robust. It can also modify images, fill gaps. It's very powerful for data preparation. And finally, a very direct application, improved customer service. AI chatbots and virtual assistants are getting much better at handling routine queries, scheduling appointments, providing product info, basic troubleshooting, often 2-minute 47, without needing a human agent.
Freeing up human agents for the tougher stuff.
Precisely. The more complex, emotional, or unusual cases can go to humans, while the AI handles the high-volume, repetitive inquiries, leads to faster responses for customers and better use of human resources.
Those are great examples of Gen AI's impact. The manual also takes a step back and looks at the fundamental types of business problems AI is good at solving, categorizing them by the AI technique used. This seems helpful for understanding where AI fits strategically.
Yes, it breaks it down into common AI task types, like classification. This is about putting things into distinct categories.
Like spam filter.
Spam filters are a perfect example. Is this email spam, or not spam? Other examples. Image recognition. Is this a cat or a dog? Medical diagnosis. Is this tumor benign or malignant? Fraud detection. Is this transaction fraudulent or legitimate? AI can classify massive amounts of data very quickly. Then there's regression. This is about predicting a continuous numerical value.
Like predicting house prices.
Exactly. Predicting house prices based on features like size and location, or forecasting future sales, predicting energy demand, estimating customer lifetime value. It's about finding patterns to predict numbers.
Okay, what about clustering?
Clustering is about grouping similar items together without knowing the groups beforehand. So, finding natural groupings in your data. Customer segmentation is a classic use case, grouping customers with similar buying habits. Or in biology, grouping genes with similar activity patterns. It helps uncover hidden structures. We also have dimensionality reduction. This sounds technical, but it's basically about simplifying complex data by reducing the number of variables while keeping the important information. Useful for compressing large data sets or making high-dimensional data easier to visualize and understand. Cutting through the noise.
And detection of anomalies sounds important for risk.
Hugely important. This is about spotting outliers, things that deviate significantly from the expected pattern. Fraud detection is a big one here too, spotting unusual transactions. Predictive maintenance is another, identifying subtle changes in machine behavior that signal an impending failure. Finding the needle in the haystack. Then, recommendation systems, we see these everywhere, suggesting products you might like, movies to watch, news articles to read based on your past behavior and preferences.
The governance challenge there is making sure they don't just create echo chambers, right?
That's a major concern, yes. Ensuring fairness and avoiding the creation of filter bubbles or reinforcing biases is critical for recommendation systems. And lastly, reinforcement learning. This is where the AI learns through trial and error, interacting with an environment and getting rewards or penalties for its actions to figure out the best strategy.
Like AI playing games.
Games like chess or Go are famous examples, but it's also used in robotics, teaching robots to walk or grasp objects, dynamic pricing, or optimizing complex systems like traffic flow or ad bidding. The challenge here is carefully defining that reward signal so the AI learns to do what you actually want it to do.
So looking across all these use cases, from creating content to spotting anomalies to making predictions, it's clear AI has incredible potential.
But its effective and responsible use is absolutely paramount. It's not just about technical capability, it's about ethics, fairness, security, transparency, all the governance aspects we've been discussing. They have to be baked in, not bolted on, to realize the benefits while managing the risks.
Which neatly brings us towards the end of this deep dive. Wow, we covered a lot. We've really journeyed through the foundations of AI governance today, understanding the stakeholders, the frameworks like ISO or NIST, the emerging regulations like the EU AI Act, and we explored the huge range of practical ways AI is being used.
Yeah, and I think the key thing to remember is that AI governance isn't just a checkbox exercise for compliance. It's really about building fundamental trust. Trust in the technology, trust from your customers, trust from society. It's about ensuring AI is developed ethically, maximizing the good it can do, while actively working to minimize potential harms. It's laying that solid, adaptable groundwork for a technology that's weaving itself into, well, pretty much everything, and it's only accelerating.
It really is. And as AI keeps evolving, At this breakneck speed, it leaves us with a pretty big question to ponder, doesn't it?
Yeah.
How will we navigate that tension between the push for rapid innovation and the absolute need for responsible, ethical, and compliant AI? Maybe think about this. What's one small step you could take starting today to contribute to better AI governance in your own work, your own organization, or even just in your understanding as a citizen affected by AI? Hopefully this deep dive gave you some useful insights and maybe sparked some new questions. Thanks so much for joining us.